Stick around in a Golf Today roundtable. We're joined now by Rex Hoggard and Ryan Lavner. And Rex, I'll start with you mainly because I associate grey hair with gravitas here, so we'll get to Ryan eventually. But if you're Zach Johnson, did anything happen at Eastlake that's going to change your mind about who these picks are going to be tomorrow?
I really don't think so. I think when you go back to what Stacey Lewis just told you guys in one of the interviews earlier in the show, talking about, it seems like her picks were set about a month and a half ago. I think you can probably say the same thing for Zach Johnson. I guess Lucas Glover could have made things a little bit more interesting, as he just mentioned there in the sound that we heard from him, and maybe won at BMW or top 10 here, whatever combination that would have worked out. And certainly Keegan Bradley made a run at it at Eastlake. But I feel like if you look at the makeup of the team, of the players who've already qualified for the U.S. team, and you look at how you're going to match them up, if I'm in the team room right now and looking at Zach Johnson's big board, I think you can probably pick 5 players who are pretty much locks, and then maybe the last pick comes down to a combination of a bunch of different guys. But I don't think anything at Eastlake changed his mind.
Lav, anything you see at Eastlake change who you think might win the Ryder Cup? I'm seeing Hovland thriving, Rory playing great, the back issue notwithstanding, Tommy Fleetwood solid, Bobby McIntyre in Prague. Does Europe get the upper hand now?
Upper hand, no, but I would certainly think that they're a very dangerous underdog at this point with a lot of momentum now as we head into the final month until we actually get to Italy. You mentioned all of the heavy hitters on Europe who seem to be firing on all cylinders. When you're looking at the American side, I mean, who are the strengths at this point? Scotty Scheffler, I think the undisputed world number one, and yet he hasn't won since March. Xander Schauffele, a great performance at Eastlake, but he always plays well at Eastlake. When you go down the list and the rest of the American side, they've got a long 4 or 5 weeks here until we get to Rome. Some players are going to play the Fortinet Napa. They're obviously going to be having the scouting trip to Marco Simone in a couple of weeks' time. But I think there's also some potential chance for competitive rust to set in. That won't be the case for the leading American or the leading Europeans.
So, Ryan, let me ask you this question. And Rex, I'd like to hear your answer on this as well. Let's start with Ryan. Who is going to be the most surprising guy who's left off this team tomorrow?
I don't know that there's necessarily going to be any surprises. I'm with Rex that I think there's 5 locks. It's Brooks Koepka, Jordan Spieth, Colin Morikawa, Justin Thomas, and Ricky Fowler. You can go in a number of different directions with that 6th pick. If I'm Zach Johnson, I'm taking Sam Burns, even though Sam Burns admittedly said yesterday that he's been kind of disappointed by his season. He's still a foundational part for this American team for the next half decade or longer. He's an elite putter. He's a very good driver of the golf ball. And if I'm Zach Johnson, I'm sidling up to Scotty Scheffler, the best player on the American team, and saying, hey, who do you want to play with? And the answer, more than likely, is going to be Sam Burns, one of his best friends on the PGA Tour. I think that's good enough for him.
Rex, any surprise?
I think I'd agree with Ryan. No, I don't think so. I think I would agree with Ryan. I think Sam Burns is a really good fit. As you pointed out, he's a natural partner for Scotty Scheffler. To answer Eamon's question, though, I think the odd man out in all of this, the one that would be the surprise for me, would be Cameron Young in that scenario. He has been sort of that top echelon player now for the last year and a half, pretty much. And he was right there when it came down to final qualifying. I think Zach's going to make the decision to go with Sam, but Cam Young would be the surprise.
Rex, Keegan Bradley, living and dying with every conversation about the Ryder Cup. He said he was so thankful that his family was with him just to kind of occupy his mind with other things. Is there a role for him in Rome next month?
I mean, perhaps you can go back to Bubba Watson being a part of that team that he didn't qualify for a couple years, where he just wanted to be inside the team room. He didn't technically have the vice captain sort of title, but certainly you look at the energy that Keegan brings to the table and the passion, and I think that would be helpful, because when you look at the 5 locks that Ryan just mentioned, Justin Thomas is the one right there that you would look at and think, okay, he's the leader of this team. He's the heart and soul of that team, but he's also coming in not playing his best golf. He would be a captain's pick. You probably could do him some good to have someone else in that team room, and I don't want to say that he's going to be the guy that's cheering them on, but certainly he'd be fun to have on the sidelines.
Ryan, I want to leave the Ryder Cup for a second. There was a little bit of controversy in the Korn Ferry Tour at the weekend. Alejandro Toste, who's going to be on the PGA Tour next week, was withdrawn from the Albertson Boise Open. The Korn Ferry Tour said it was for an undisclosed disciplinary matter, refused to discuss it anymore, said it was going to be handled internally. Does the Korn Ferry Tour actually owe people an explanation here of why a player was withdrawn mid-tournament for disciplinary matters? We hear about transparency and the need for more of it, even from the tour themselves. Is it time that we see a little bit more of that transparency on an issue like this?
I mean, this has been a gripe that we've had for, what, a decade or two when it comes to the PGA Tour, the lack of transparency, particularly when it comes to disciplinary matters. I would actually counter slightly in saying that this might have been slight progress in this regard. I mean, the Tour does not disclose disciplinary action, but it did take the highly unusual step in actually announcing that he was withdrawn from the tournament because of a disciplinary matter. So I've always been of the belief, Eamon, that public embarrassment is the strongest deterrent possible. The PGA Tour has long kind of countered that claim. It's clear when you read Ryan French's reporting on Monday Q Info that Alejandro Tosti is in need of help and in need of an intervention and in need of someone to steer him on the right path. He's an immensely talented player, has been all the way back to his amateur and college days, but it's clear that he needs help right now, and I hope they can get it based on kind of the Tour's actions at this point.
Rex, as you know, Eamon started this conversation talking about gray hair. We go back to covering the FedEx Cup from its inception. We didn't really know what it was back in 06, 07 when this thing was launched. What is the FedEx Cup now coming off this Viktor Hovland, Xander Schauffele duel?
I thought it was interesting. I asked Ricky Fowler specifically last week, would it be more important for him to make the Ryder Cup team or to make Eastlake? And he said Eastlake is everything that you need to do to get to that final 30, to get sort of everything that comes along with an invitation to the Tour Championship. As hard as you have to play, we've seen it over the last few weeks. You scrambled to try to make the top 70 just to qualify for the playoffs, and you scrambled to get inside the top 50. We've seen time and time again how difficult this is. I think that's an indication of how important it's become to the players. You certainly think the FedEx Cup, the way the format is now, we've heard that a lot last week about they don't particularly love the format. They would rather maybe come up with something different, but it is very important to the players. And I'll even take it a step further. I think it probably won't this year, but it could have decided the Player of the Year race, I would say, the last 3 or 4 years.
Got a yes or no question for both of you guys right now. Scotty Scheffler, dead last in the field putting at Eastlake. He was 38th out of 50 in the BMW Championship, 62 out of 70 in the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Yes or no, time to run up the red flag that this is a real issue?
Yes, and it has been a real issue the entirety of the season, Eamon. I mean, this is a player who's 150th on the PGA Tour in putting. He's basically squandered one of the best ball striking seasons we've ever seen. I mean, he's the first player in history, at least in the ShotLink era, to lead in strokes gained off the tee and strokes gained approach. It seems unfathomable that he only won 2 times. And so, yes, I would say it's a huge issue. And if I'm the Europeans, I'm not conceding anything outside 2 feet.
Wow, squandered. Very strong word, active verb from Ryan Lavner. I invite you to check out their handiwork, Rex and Lav, on golfchannel.com and their podcast as well.